Do you want to get a placement in your dream company or university? If yes, then watch this video. Hello, my name is Mohammed Wakar and welcome back to my YouTube channel. I hope you all are doing good. We all know how important a good cover letter or a motivation letter is to get the placement in your dream company or university. So for this purpose, I have interviewed an expert whose name is Dr. Muhammad Ayaz. I'm pretty sure after watching this video, you will be able to write the cover letter or motivation letter that will stand out. I know this video is a bit lengthy, but I am 100% sure that this video is worth every second of your time. So without wasting any time, let's start the video. So, sir, would you like to please introduce yourself first?
Okay. My name is Ayaz Khan. I am currently working as a clinical MRI scientist in one of the research hospital here for cancer in USA. And I've been mentoring for almost past 18, 20 years. Um, I started with something which was more of like a guide, just, providing some information about higher education and stuff. And later on, I built up more of my expertise or my program more toward mentorship. And now it's not just that; it also includes career counseling or any other kind of discussion that a student might need. And mostly, what I help a student with is in terms of higher education is with their strong application, be it a resume, CV, letters, any correspondence with the professors. So even helping them how to write a good and strong email is also part of it. So yeah, that's what it is. That's what I mostly try to emphasize on.
Yeah, let's jump right into the video. What are your tips and tricks for a student who want to make a good letter of motivation?
So see, always read the instruction provided by the university. It's very important. Second thing is read about as many programs before you apply. The more you read, the more knowledge you have, the easier it gets. Okay,
Yeah.
so do not just jump into applying. Rather, read about the program, their coursework, their long-term goals. Sorry, not your long-term goals, and also their research focus. What kind of work they do. Okay, so when you read about their program or about the professor, about their research goal, about their focus, it gives you so much information. Then you know what to connect with them. And in letter of motivation, cover letter, a statement of purpose, personal statement, they all are the same, except if they specify. If they tell you we need a personal statement and we need a motivation letter, then of course you have to write both. Otherwise, it's just the one letter where you have to tell them who you are. So 3 points they have to keep: who you are, what do you want. Okay, so who you are, what have you achieved so far, your academic, personal achievement, your professional, and of course personal, both achievements. So all these achievements, okay, starting from any kind of let's say struggle that you have had, or you have built some profile, what have you done so far, those kind of things, and the skills that you have developed during this process. So
Yeah.
who you are, that question that is answered, right? The second, what do you want, why you want to study further, what are your long-term goals. Okay, there is a second one. And then you have to say, like, for instance, if you want to be a researcher, you want to be a scientist in, let's say, machine learning, or you want to teach something, or you want to do, you want to be entrepreneur, whatever, whoever you are, or you're a doctor and you want some kind of training, or if you are a business person and you just want an international training, or scholarship, or maybe an internship, or maybe a fellowship, anything. So these letters should not be just specified for a PhD. It means any program. Okay, so who you are, what do you want. When you tell them what do you want, then it comes why this program. So what who you are, what do you want, and how this program will help you to get it. Three simple points. You have to tell them this program is needed for my career to achieve my long-term goals. So 3 points, if you can convey to them, that is all you have to write in that letter. Okay, so 3 paragraphs: who you are, what do you want, how to get it. How to get it will be through this program, and then you connect your skills and your professional experiences with their program and say, look, this is what I need because this would help me go further in my career, and this is exactly they want to see in the letter. Why should I give you this admission if you're not even concerned, if you don't even have a long-term goals, if you don't even know what you want, and you do not need this program, you should not be in this program. It's as easy as that. So they're going to reject your application right away. And I basically would do the same thing. If you then cannot convince me, okay, you should not be in this program, and you should not get disheartened. It means you're just not ready yet. Yeah.
Okay, so I think that's a really useful tip. First of all, how you can start making your statement of purpose and letter of motivation. But then there comes a lot of questions from different students. The first one of them is, what is the ideal length of a letter of motivation or the statement of purpose?
Okay. So unless they specify, again, everything is based on their instruction. Look, if I give you instruction, you
Mhm.
don't follow it, I'm going to reject your application.
Oh,
This means you are not a serious student. You did not even spend a time on our website to read about our program and our instructions. Okay.
mhm.
So there are instructions for anything. Okay. And you have to definitely read those. If they specify, please tell us your experience
Mhm.
and how it is related with our program. So please do not tell, I am from Pakistan, my name is this. They asked you simple question. Tell us about your research, your experience. Right away, jump into your experience. Don't tell anything about, I am from, remote area of Pakistan and all that. No, they don't want to read that. They just want to know your experience. That is very important. So following instructions means in terms of what question they ask you, what topics they want you to address, the length. Sometimes they will even specify leave 1 inch on each side of the paper. Then you should go in the layout and make it 1 inch. Okay. Sometimes they will write 1 page with 12 font size, because people, what do? They make the font size minimize 9 and they start making it. Don't do that, because some people cannot read 9 font. It's very small. So I'm saying all these things because the question, it will address so many questions. Excuse me. Read the instructions. 1 page is ideal, but usually 800 words is very much, throughout the world is very acceptable. 800 words, okay,
Okay.
which will take about 1 page and a half. Okay.
Mhm.
Uh, some people might say 250 words, which is mostly for U grade and some of other programs. If somebody asks you for very small amount of the words, then
Mhm.
be specific. Do not write like most of the time when people send me a letter, 1200 words, which is very annoying, to be honest. The moment I see 1200 words, I'm like, oh God, it's gonna be. And I can tell you from my experience, repeated information, useless information,
Mhm.
irrelevant information, and punctuation. You
Yeah.
take four things out, and the letter will come down to only 600 words. 50 is all just crap, nothing but repeated information. After every point, they emphasize. Don't overemphasize. Don't
Mhm.
try to teach the reader what you're trying to tell them. I did this research, and because of that research, I learned this. Well, of course, you will learn this because this is the research you did. So it is
Yeah.
as if like I studied civil engineering, and now I'm a civil engineer. How stupid is that?
Yeah.
You don't say I'm a civil engineer because I studied. You just say this. Or sometimes people will, let's say, I read this one letter last night, and within 4 lines, this guy used mechanical engineer 5 times. Mechanical engineer. You don't repeat the word. Okay, so
Yeah.
repetition, useless information is the one that makes your letter very lengthy. Okay,
Mhm.
250 words you can easily write. I know it's not easy, and this is the skill you have to develop, and that's why we or any other mentor try to
Yeah.
review it. Okay, so let's go back to the original question. I had to give you all this information because then they would say, how do you know why we should only have this much long?
Yeah.
So
That's.
that's the 800 words ideal. 1 page would be the best. Okay,
Mhm.
one page will take about 600 words, I would say. Okay,
Yeah.
otherwise 500 words you can do easily. Some of the Erasmus program, they only has 500, and to be honest, if you go more than 500, you better have some good information to write. Otherwise 500 word would be if somebody asked me, I would say 500 words.
Okay.
Okay. But this is not my choice. But in
Yeah.
general, I would say 1 page or 800 words is the best. Do not make a small font size smaller than 12.
Mhm.
Okay. And the last thing is, please pay attention. Do not copy paste. When you copy paste, I read letters and I can within a second I can tell you people have copy pasted. You know how? Because of the font style. They have a font style different, and all the sudden change, and all the sudden change. And the second is the English and the flow. And the moment you see it, you want to reject the application, because if the student cannot read, look, you are in Europe now. Just
Yeah.
imagine if you cannot write an SOP, how would you write articles? How would you write research paper? How would you write presentation? How will you write your assignment? How will you write your your projects? One SOP you cannot write while you're in a comfort of Pakistan where you don't have to do anything.
Yeah.
And then when in Europe, you have to clean, cook, everything, and you have to work. So if you
That's
cannot do it there, you will never be. And they said, "Oh, sir, once I'm there, you will do this." No, you will never do it. If you cannot do it now, you will never do it there. Please read the instruction, follow the instructions, and
Mhm.
do not repeat. So if they ask me just to simply answer this question, the letter should not be more than a page or 800 words. Do not repeat information. Do not overemphasize, and do not, please do not
Yeah.
try to convince the reader uh, because of you are overemphasizing it. It's a negative thing to do. Yeah, and toward the end, I will give you do and don'ts of the SOP, so that will also help. Yeah.
That's cool. Yeah, because my next question was, what are the most common mistakes? Because you have mentioned some of the mistakes, like people usually copy paste from the internet, or they usually don't follow the instructions provided by the university. So, what are the other common mistakes that you usually get to see in the letter of motivation that you get for proofreading?
Do not repeat your CV. Don't tell
Okay.
them, oh, I am a BS in this engineering from that university. It's already in your CV. Why would you repeat?
Yeah.
Do not write the list of the coursework. I studied this well. I am a biomedical engineer. Of course, I will study everything with biomedical engineering.
Yeah.
Unless I do something different, then I would say, look, just because of my passion, I also studied business. Then you can write it because it's completely different. Do not your awards and achievements should be in CV, but do not say, oh, the university I graduated was a prestigious university of Pakistan. Okay, if it is, you can add, but don't overemphasize, otherwise in CV. All this information should be in CV. And that's the reason people sometimes go more than this. Oh, I cannot even cut what I wrote. No, you can. Okay.
Mhm.
uh, so yeah, repetition of CV information is very annoying. Writing your name, I am this from Pakistan. Why would you write this? It's already in your CV. It's already in your
Okay.
application. So don't say my
Yeah.
name is Hassan. I'm from USA and I have done this. Everything is already in CV. Why would you repeat?
Exactly.
Okay. This kind of information. And yes, you can write about so the things that you have to highlight is your skills. So let's say, I'm just giving you an example. Somebody has used machine learning, or
Mhm.
somebody has used a basic PCR for a basic science, a research scientist. You
Yeah.
can say that, okay, during COVID situation, although I was a student, but I had the privilege that I worked in one of the lab as a volunteer where I ran 5,000 PCR. Meaning, if you ran that many, I'm just giving an example, right?
Yeah.
If you ran that many, you are now expert because you ran 5,000 specimen. Okay, it's not your research; it was a volunteer work. But as a reader, I'm like, you know what? Good. I'm sure this person now have a very hand-on trained on PCR. Okay, I'm just giving you an
Mhm.
example.
Yeah.
Or somebody say about machine learning, and they say, look, during the COVID-19, I'm just giving the COVID because this is the buzzword right now.
Yeah.
But you
Exactly.
can say, as a scientist, I helped, or I wrote a blog where I ran so many analysis using machine learning just to predict what is coming in the next few weeks or months. And my prediction basically worked based on. So you are saying, you're telling them, "Okay, I'm a scientist, although I'm not a PhD, but I think like a scientist." You don't say, I think like a scientist. Your word should say that
Yeah.
I ran this machine learning algorithm based on this thing. Okay, and it worked, and my prediction worked or things. So they will know two things. Number one, you think like a scientist, you did work like a scientist, and your machine learning pattern you wrote it was very effective.
Yeah.
These kind of example, you don't write, oh, I'm very good at machine learning. Okay. And how do you prove it?
Yeah. That's right.
You write things which is evident. There should be evidence होना चाहिए उसका, right? अगर नहीं है तो it's a problem. They would not be able to really uh, comprehend the reader. So these
Mhm.
are the things they should keep in mind. Do not write very journal statement. That's another thing. One thing this which I always read, or any other letter would have. This thing instilled in me. This thing, everybody writes it. Okay. The second thing is, and the program is tailored according to my needs. Same line, every other SOP. These are copy and paste because they want to make the document lengthy, and they write very generalized statement. So my personal advice to you: do not write any statement which is very generalized. Okay,
Mhm.
do not write When I was kid, I was used to break toys, and I was used to make, and that's how I knew I'm an engineer. Every kid does it. Okay, this
Okay.
is a common story. Everybody writes it. When I was a child, I was used to, open out of curiosity. I would open my toy, and then every kids does it, regardless of engineer or not engineer. Okay, everybody
Yeah,
kid does it. So do not
that's
write
true.
very, boring kind of statement. Or another thing that people try to do, this called, emotionally blackmail. When you write, oh, I am from the very remote area. Well, if you are, you can write, but not in a tone that you are trying to emotionally blackmailing the reader. Okay, or
Yeah.
say, I am the only person. Every other SOP I read, the one only statement. I am the only person in my family who went to the university. Come on, I mean, it is not 1950s. It is 2020. I am sure there are other people who went,
Hmm.
and even if you are, one in 100 it makes sense, but every other application, and some of them they live in a big cities and they think they are the only one, and then it doesn't make any. And then they went to very good college and school, so it doesn't make any sense. I mean, write something which goes. This has become now a common trend. People write it because they think if you write that you are from an underdeveloped area and you're the only person in the family, it will earn you scholarship. It will not earn you scholarship. The
Hmm.
person who earned it, who you are
Yeah.
following, this was not the only thing. He may have had or she may have had other achievements. They
Okay.
got it. Just because they got it, everybody thinks, oh, he got it, she got it, I will get it the same way. So they just copy the same pattern. The
That's
last thing that I would say, if you ever write any SOP or statement, purpose, personal statement of purpose, do not read other people SOPs. Read guide, watch videos. I have a lot of videos. You can watch this video, read and write this, and then basically go and write your own. You will not copy paste anything. This will be genuinely yours, and you will know what you're talking about. Okay. The last thing which is very important, and again, there are so many points. I don't want it to lose. Make sure there's a flow in your SOP. The flow has to be there. First paragraph should have a flow in, should have a transition to the second paragraph. Second should be third and fourth. So there should be transition, and there should be flow. So when somebody reads it, it makes sense. Even if it's long, it should make sense, right? And this is something usually students don't do it. They write it as a list. I was this, I did this, I did that, also did this. This is when they write about their achievement or about their extracurricular. Don't write it. Say, I have been involved in many things. Some of the, few things that I would like to highlight is such and such and such. These things were always intrigued me. Something where is a flow. Do not write a list. It's not a CV. It has to
yeah.
be some very nice and flow in those SOP. And this is what is needed. And this is something they should keep in mind. Yeah.
Okay, cool. I think that these are the tips that are really helpful for the students who are going to make their SOPs, I think. So I think we have covered almost all the things that are required for an SOP. But before we end this video, can you please mention what are the do's and don'ts of CV? Like, what are
Yeah.
something that must be in a CV and what are something that must not be in a CV?
Okay. So, few things that I have already said it, but I can repeat
Yeah.
those. Do not, like I said, do not write your SOP exactly the copy of your CV. This is
Hmm.
not what it is for. You have 100% control on what you write in your SOP. So make sure you write something which is other than your CV, your transcript, and your certificates that you are uploading or you are providing.
Yeah.
It should be something which gives about your personality other than what you have already wrote. You can even start with this. As an adventurous person, I like going on hikes, and this always helped me to basically come up with idea, something which is completely out of your normal routine, something that would be different than what you have achieved scientifically or technically. Okay, so these are the things that people do not usually ride. If you're a horse rider, you can write about that. If you are a swimmer and you compete, you can start with that. Anything other than your academics, start with that, and
Hmm.
then build upon that, or at least mention these things. So these are the do's. Okay, write about your non-curricular activities. Do not say I'm a public speaker. Rather say, as a concerned person, I always speak about issues in our in my surrounding, and I'm involved in corner meetings where I talk about different issues, be it social, political, whatever. You can also talk about the, different abuses, drug abuse, child abuse, anything that you think you do. This way, I as a reader will know, okay, this person is a public person. He or she can speak in public. They have the skill of public speaking. They are not shy. They are outgoing. You never told me anything, but as a reader, I can understand
Yeah.
from that.
So that means, so sorry to interrupt you. So that means instead of writing exactly like I am a very active person or I am a very proficient person, the best way is to demonstrate it through examples, right?
Exactly. Don't tell them who you are. Show them who you are. You have to show them, and this
Yeah,
is how
that's
you
the
do
best
it.
thing.
Okay. So, and then if you are an introvert, nothing wrong with it. You just say, most of the time I spend my time with my books. The books that I read is this. Like show them not the title of, but the genre of the books. Okay, so they know you are a thinker. You like to have critical thinking. Whatever your skills are, you write that and build upon that. Okay, so these are the do's. Also, write about every skills that you have. Don't worry about it is related or non-related. Doesn't matter. Okay, if you have done a project which is not relevant to this project, but as long as you have worked there and you have write reports and thesis and some, write it. Okay, a student for some is, oh, I did not write it because it's not relevant with that. It doesn't matter. You can always change the field. You can always change your research. You can always change. By the way, you can always change your field. No problem. From civil, you can go to business, and that showing that why you want to do it is also important in SOP. It shows your strong personality. Okay, so this is how you write it. And then other stuff, like I said, anything which is not in your CV and academic achievements should be in SOP, but not as a list. I did this, I did that. Don't, right? Like, provide them why you do it. What is the reason behind it? If
Yes.
I write an SOP, I would write, I'm a biomedical engineer having a PhD in biomedical medical imaging. With all this work, I do mentorship. Why I do it? Okay, so this is something that I will write about, right? Which nobody knows about.
Exactly.
Never in my CV I have written this, but this is my biggest, involvement or my passion that I get involved with. So you have to, of course, somehow, somewhere, show those things. When you do these extracurricular activities, what happens is they know that you are a person who manage his time or her time so wisely that you have time for studies, for research, for extracurricular activities, for your fitness, for everything. So these are the things that they get it from, and they want a human being. They don't want a robot. They don't want somebody come early morning and stay till midnight. No, they want human beings who can think, who have a
Yeah.
critical think. And this is how you basically show them. So these are the do's. And let me go on some other list. By the way, I may have some in my guide. I may have do and don'ts, so that can also be used in case if somebody want to have a written document. Okay, so these are things. And then what you have to do sometime, if you have more than one project and you think you cannot list all of them, then list the one which is more relevant to them and try to connect. So these are again something that you have to do.
Yeah.
Basically show them why you are basically much more suitable for this program. Okay, so these are some points that they should keep in mind. And for the don'ts, there's a list of don'ts. I have already told you what
Yeah.
should
I
be,
think we have
what are the
spoken a lot
don'ts.
about it.
And what I would say, write simple and short sentences. Do not try to use words which is not commonly used. Okay, because then you try to, which can be done depending on your let's say if you're writing for English program, yes, sure, write a very intriguing and very interesting kind of words and sentences, thoughtful. But if you're writing a simple application, don't make it difficult. Okay, write simple and short sentences to the point. And one thing, by the way, with the do's, another thing that they should do is every time you write one sentence, before you write the second one, read the first one. Then
Okay.
you write the third one, read the first two, then go to the fourth. That's why SOP writing, any letter writing can take months, not just 1 week,
Yeah.
months. In my opinion, if you're applying in June, next year, June, you should start writing now.
Such a long process.
At least 4 to 6 months. This is I'll be very honest to you. If you're, because you're going to write after a few weeks or months, you're gonna send it to someone. They're
Yeah.
gonna edit. Then you come back. Then you start more. It takes time. For experienced person, it might take a day. I mean, if I sit down to write somebody, I can write it one day. But
Yeah.
if somebody has to do on their own, you read. See why I say 1 month, 5 to 6 months. You're not gonna just sit down and write. You're gonna read about different programs. While you're writing, you're going to read, then you're going to edit, then you're going to go back, then you're going to edit. It might be 40, 50 versions before you finalize it. And the more effort you put, the better it gets. Okay.
Yeah.
Now, going back to the don'ts, like I said, don't overemphasize. Don't try to teach the reader. Okay. As a reader, I will understand what you're trying to say. Don't try to teach me. Okay. Do not repeat. The repetition is, some people would, after every paragraph, they will write, why this program? They will, another paragraph, why this program? This is overemphasis.
Yeah.
See, what they want to see from these letters is, what are your thought process? Okay. Are you genuinely student, genuine student who really want this program because they know what they want, or you just trying to like just trying it out? They would know it. So your letter should show that. With don'ts, in the SOP, like I said, do not write information which already in somewhere else. If you have any achievement in any particular program, you can, in any, let's say one course was really something that changed your course of studies, you can write that, no problem. But do not list all the courses. Okay.
Sure.
And then writing the name of a professor or a teacher there, it's not necessary unless they ask you. Okay. Now, the last thing, which is very important, do's is, when you write about any research area, keep it open-ended. Don't make it specific, because the moment you make it specific for any research, what happens is, it the university or the professor or the committee that who is the admission committee, they may think you only want to work in this area, and if they do not have any facility, they will reject your application. So keep it open-ended. Okay, your research area, your research interest, and let them basically offer you, and then you decide either you want to take it or leave it. One very well written letter, SOP, motivation letter, whatever you call it, can help you get the scholarship or admission. Okay, if it's very well written. But single-handedly, a very bad written or not very well structured SOP single-handedly can reject your application. Like, I will be very honest to you. I read letters every day, 5, 6, and people do not pay attention. Sometimes they have a full stop, and after full stop, there is no space.
Yeah.
And people would bold some of the sentences. Why would you bold? Oh, I want to specify. No, don't do those. Don't bold. Do not write capital words if it's not needed. You should know English punctuation. If you do not even know English punctuation, why would I hire you? Okay. So be careful about punctuation, grammar, what needs to be highlighted, what you should not be highlighted. If you do that, in my opinion, yes, application should be rejected because of one punctuation, because one letter is only 1.5 page. You're telling me in this era, the MS Office can highlight you where your grammatical mistakes are.
Yeah.
It can tell you where the spelling mistakes are. You did not pay attention. You did not use the use of technology. If you cannot use simple technology, how can you study master's program for 2 years? It is as simple as that. Okay. So be very mindful of reading it again and again, having somebody read it for you, check it. Online check would be there. And don't worry about plagiarism. If you did not do any copy paste, don't worry about it. But if you did, yes, then you will be worried about it forever. So these are my comments that I hope that it's helpful. But if there are any specific questions which are short and easy, I can answer those in very easy short answer questions.
No, I think these are the tips that are mandatory to be followed while we're writing our letter of motivation or research proposal or whatever it is for educational purposes or maybe it's for a job purpose. I think these are the tips everyone can follow. I think we are pretty much done with our video and we have covered all the things, unless you want to add something more, sir.
That would be it from my side.
Okay, cool then. Then I think I'm gonna, if that's okay for you, I'm gonna attach your email address and the channel to your link, because I think there are many interesting videos and informative videos that a student can watch before they make their application. And it's not just about the letter of motivation, it's about the stuff that you should be putting in your CV, other kind of stuff that you should be looking at. I think your channel of kind of will help students in their career. So I'm gonna link that in the description box, and if that's okay for you, I'm gonna also link your email address. So if a student wants to proofread their letter of motivation, they can always contact you. Is it fine, sir?
Sounds good.
Yeah, cool then. Thank you so much, sir, for your time. So these were the tips. I hope you find them helpful when you are writing your cover letter or motivation letter. And if you enjoyed this video, give it a thumbs up and comment down if you need to ask something else. And subscribe to my channel. Until next time, Allah Hafiz.